started, shall we? Let's get started here. Wednesday, January 29th. You know, there's a lot of good stuff happening in the country, in the globe for that matter. A lot of good stuff, a lot to be hopeful about. But crazy still peeks its head through. Don't get it twisted. You will still see crazy. You will still see glimpses of the devil. And there's no getting around that. There's always going to be that, I don't know if you want to call it temptation, if you will, but that absolute, you just can't jive with it type of bullshit. What am I talking about? Right off the rip, I'm talking about the confirmation hearing with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I mean, we have a country that is suffering badly from chronic health diseases, obesity, and that's just the start, right? When you look at the impact COVID-19 had on America in comparison to other countries, why was it so detrimental here in the United States? The answer is because we were so unhealthy to begin with that it made the disease that much more potent on us. But you see, the senators, the Democrat senators, they don't care about any of that. No. What they care about is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and what he said on a couple of podcasts. That's what they care about. We'll talk about all this tonight. Big show. Thank you for joining Live with Chris's World, airing here on X, on Rumble, and YouTube every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that is X, YouTube, and Rumble, Live with Chris's World at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I appreciate everybody being here. We've got a big show for you tonight. Let's get right into the agenda. Here's what we're talking about. We've got, of course, the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. hearing. We'll break that down. We'll talk about Ron Wyden. He's getting over $1.5 million from Big Pharma. Elizabeth Warren had a lot to say. She's getting over $800,000 since 2019 from Big Pharma. So these people, they talk a big game, but really they just know that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to shut off the cash flow that they're getting. So what is this whole thing really about? Do they really mean what they say, or are they worried about the faucet turning off? I think we'll provide enough evidence tonight to prove the point that I think they're just worried about the faucet turning off. But we'll let everybody else be the judge of that. Deportation updates. We have arrested over 5,000 illegal criminals since last week. Kristi Noem was with Tom Homan. Dr. Phil was with Tom Homan. They're out on the streets arresting these criminals. So look, and that's nice to see. When the leadership is out there, it shows the agents that are doing the job on a daily basis, hey, look, you know, the leadership isn't asking you to do anything that they wouldn't do themselves. That is like rule number one in being a good and effective leader. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. So what else do we have here? We'll talk about these crazies a little bit. Not in Congress, outside of Congress, in society. We have some video footage of a drag queen singing to very young children. Then we're going to show some statistics on the mental health correlation with the transgender phenomenon. I mean, it's so in sync that you really can't look past it. We'll talk about the executive order that is banning minors from receiving gender-affirming care. The way that I look at it is like this. If you can't drink legally in this country, if you can't go get a tattoo legally in this country, then why should you be able to make a decision that would affect you for the rest of your life, cutting off body parts, taking hormone blockers that will fuck up your system for the rest of your life? So this is what I'm saying. Why, if you can't drink or get a tattoo, why should you be able to make those decisions? We'll talk about it in a little bit more depth. Chicago mayor's office, Mayor Johnson, he's a criminal. Mayor Johnson has violated many laws in regards to accepting gifts, alcohol, luxury services, and other things. We'll discuss it. We have an overview of the wasteful spending that has already been cut by Donald Trump in the beginning weeks here. The buyout package that was offered to federal employees, 2 million federal employees, offered a buyout package that's very fair. Very fair. They would receive full pay until September. The goal here from the Trump administration is, okay, if we can have people just opt out, like let's take advantage of them willingly wanting to opt out, because we need to slim down the size of the government. It was never intended to be this big. And we've got some other things as well. Trump signed the Laken Riley Act, first piece of legislation that he has signed as president number 47. That's a huge deal, really big piece of legislation to get through. A bipartisan issue, right? I mean, a lot of Democrats did come to the table on that. But, you know, when you have illegals committing a crime in this country, there is zero justification to keeping them around. In my opinion, there's zero justification to keeping in any illegal around. But then you have an illegal here that commits a crime and we're still having the conversation. I mean, it just, right? It doesn't, it's weird. And then Trump wins a settlement against Meta for $25 million, which is funny because it wasn't Mark Z. Zuckerberg just at the inauguration. So we'll talk about that too. Big show tonight. A lot of good topics here for you. Live with Chris's World. This show begins right now. Thank you for tuning in. All right, so here's where we will begin tonight. If you missed the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. confirmation hearing, I've got you covered. I mean, in a nutshell, this is all it was. Just another episode of emotional liberals not being able to really come to grasp with the conclusion that the election was. I mean, at the end of the day, you have this emotion that's running through the veins of these people where they almost just cannot believe that it happened. And they're willing to get in the way of Donald Trump and in the future administration in any way that they can to slow it up for whatever reason. I don't know if it just makes them sleep better at night, or if when they go into the back room at Democrat parties, they could go rah, rah, look at what I did. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. It's the most un-American thing possible because the people of this country gave Donald Trump a mandate to construct a cabinet that was full of disruptors and people who are going to really help press the reset button in this country. So if you missed the confirmation, I mean, this was it in a nutshell, but I got to thinking a little bit. I was like, where have I seen this picture before? Because I swear I've seen it before. And then I said, yeah, there it is. That's where I've seen it before. I mean, look at the similarities between this. And this is a famous meme. Like, if you don't know this meme, I don't know, maybe you're living under a rock or something. But this meme has been around for 6 or 7 years. I don't even know what it's from. But, right? But it is ridiculous because, like I started the show, here we have a country that is suffering greatly from chronic disease, obesity, cancers. Young people are getting cancer earlier than they ever have before. You know, we're a country that is not healthy. Why is it that Europe and what they allow on the shelves is vastly different than what we're allowing on the shelves? I mean, we had products with red dye number 3 on our shelves for years, but yet back in the 80s, red dye number 3 was banned from being used in cosmetics. So like cosmetic products. So why should it be allowed in something that humans are ingesting if you're not allowed to put it in something that's going onto your skin? Do you get where this makes no sense at all? It's almost like big pharma is so powerful, especially in a monetary sense. They have so much money that in order for them to sustain the cash flow that is needed, what do they need? What does big pharma need in order to continue to stay just as profitable or more profitable than prior years? So what does big pharma need? Oh, wait, sick people. They need sick people, right? right? They need sick people. This is the only thing that makes sense to me. Now, I'm not the smartest. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I'll admit that right out in front. But to me, that's your answer. That's your answer. All right. So let's look at some footage here from the confirmation hearing today. I want to start with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his opening, a little bit from his opening statement. We won't comment too much on it, but I think it's good just to play this 30 seconds.
That we have massive health problems in this country that we must face honestly. And the first thing I've done every morning for the past 20 years is to get on my knees and pray to God that he would put me in a position to end the chronic disease epidemic and to help America's children. That's why I'm so grateful to President Trump for the opportunity to sit before you today and seek your support and partnership in this endeavor. I hope that we have.
Look, if you don't know about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and the history that he has, he was suing big companies for putting toxic waste into the Hudson for years. Obviously, that's kind of his claim to fame. But thereafter, in regards to vaccines and the mothers that would approach him in these coalitions that he was involved with, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been a warrior on children's safety for a long time, in children's health for a long time. This isn't anything that he just picked up during the Trump administration or during this last couple of months. And that's kind of what these senators made it sound like, as if, you just were tossed this position, as if you didn't have a passion in health and human services before. His whole life, he's been fighting on this issue or something revolving around health and human services. I mean, do they do their own research on Capitol Hill? I don't know if they do. Right? And the reason I say that with such confidence is because, play it back, I can't even remember the senator's name, but one in particular who told Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I only have 5 minutes to speak to you today. I don't have any questions for you. You're going to sit there and listen to me for 5 minutes. This is what this Democrat senator, I don't know if it was the one I have to check who it was, but play back the film. That is what he said. So my point is, you're not even trying to get to know this guy and do good by the American people to see if there's a qualified candidate in front of you. You're just taking 5 minutes to shill whatever you want to shill on national television because Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a big name, and you're going to have tons of people tuning into this confirmation hearing. Right? I'm not a nut job. I know I'm not. But and this is just what, as I'm watching all this unfold in real time, this is what I'm saying to myself. All right, so shortly after this, you've got Elizabeth Warren. The two that I'm going to point out are Ron Wyden and Elizabeth Warren. So here's Elizabeth Warren.
You said that President Trump asked you to, quote, clean up corruption and conflicts. Sounds great. You've said that you will, quote, slam shut the revolving door between government agencies and the companies they regulate. That also sounds great. So here's an easy question. Will you commit that when you leave this job, you will not accept compensation from a drug company, a medical device company, a hospital system, or a health insurer for at least 4 years, including as a lobbyist or a board member?
Can you just repeat the last part of the question? Can I commit?
You're not going to take money from drug companies in any way, shape, or form.
Me?
Yes, you.
Oh. Yeah, I'm happy to commit to that.
Okay, good. That's what I figured. I said it's an easy question to start with. And I think you're right on this
I don't think any of them want to give me money, by the way.
I mean, thank you. That was exactly what I was saying. I mean, it took him like 3 or 4 seconds to either think of it or to say it. But that is exactly what I thought of when that came out of her mouth. I'm like, okay, Elizabeth Warren, do us all a favor. Give us an example of one big health company that you think is going to be willing to hire Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? Name one. You think Pfizer? You think Moderna is going to? You think Johnson & Johnson? What do you think? Who do you think is going to hire Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? Who? None of them is the answer. So before we tee off on Elizabeth Warren, there was one more clown show you got from Senator Ron Wyden.
So that Mr. Kennedy,
These people, they don't give a shit about the best interest of the American people. They don't give a shit about the people that they're representing in their districts. Here's Senator Wyden.
so that Mr. Kennedy has embraced conspiracy theories, quacks, charlatans, especially when it comes to the safety and efficacy of vaccines. He has made it his life's work to sow doubt and discourage parents from getting their kids life-saving vaccines. It has been lucrative for him and put him on the verge of immense power. This is the profile of someone who chases money and influence wherever they lead, even if that may mean the tragic deaths of children and other vulnerable.
This is okay. So Senator Ron Wyden says these are the characteristics of somebody who is money hungry. Okay. So it is real interesting that when you look at the breakdown of money that Senator Wyden has received, he's getting over $1.5 million from the health industry. $1.5 million. These numbers have been confirmed. Who? Isn't that the pot calling the kettle black? What are we like? These people get up there and they point the finger without looking in the damn mirror themselves. That's a problem. Without platforms like X, they wouldn't be called out on it. Here's my prediction. You're going to see a lot less of this self-reflect. You're going to see a lot more, self-reflection before these hearings happen in coming years. Because when Democrats like Elizabeth Warren, Senator Wyden, when they lose their seats because of their lack of transparency, when they get primaried and lose those seats, people are going to be, oh, the American public got smart. That's all that needs to happen. A couple big shots need to lose their seats. You're not going to have this happen anymore. We have a voice thanks to platforms like X. This show airing on X every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check this show out, please. Join us as much as you can. Weekdays, Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. But if it wasn't for shows on X, spaces on X, dialogue on X, we wouldn't be able to call out the hypocrisy that we're seeing from these Democrat senators. Elizabeth Warren, $800,000 for Elizabeth Warren. Now she gets out of the confirmation hearing and she meets with the this is what she says she's worried about with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. This is Elizabeth Warren's concern.
His answers are he intends to continue to make money off his anti-vax position. Look, he says he won't go to work for drug companies.
So, I mean, her whole thing is, no, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wants to make money from an anti-vax position. Well, here's the contrary, Elizabeth Warren. You want to make money from your pro-big pharma position. And I think that you're worried that when Robert F. Kennedy Jr. gets in there, he's going to slam down some very strict regulations, This is the only area in America that we need more regulation, is the Health and Human Services area, right? The FDA, what we're allowing people to ingest into the bodies. In my opinion, that would be the only thing. And it's still have freedom of choice. If you want to eat the Twinkie. But how about, can we make a Twinkie without the harmful red toxic dye number 3 in it? Can we make a Twinkie without those ingredients? I'm sure we can, because if we were to make homemade Twinkies, we would make them without red dye number 3. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Like, it's possible. You don't need this toxic material in ingredients in our day-to-day snacking food. That's what we're going to take out. That's where we could use regulation. Hey, we're not taking peanut butter marshmallow fluff off the shelves. We're just going to make it so they can't put toxic shit in your peanut butter marshmallow fluff or whatever you're eating. That's all it is. But no, see, Elizabeth Warren, she doesn't care about the chronic health disease that we have in this country. She doesn't give a damn at all. That's not her concern. What is her concern is raking in those profits from big pharma. That is her concern. These Democrats need to wear sponsor patches on their clothing. You know how like NASCAR drivers do that? NASCAR drivers, they put sponsor patches on their jackets. Democrats, Republicans, all elected officials should be doing the same thing. How's that for a take? All right, don't go anywhere, everybody. Thank you for tuning in here on X. Please help me reshare the show if you're watching live on X. I appreciate you being here and watching. Looks like we got about 840 or so that have tuned in to the program tonight. So if you enjoy what you're here and you're a patriot who wants to help get out the America First message and agenda, do me a favor, repost the show, like it, drop a comment. I would really appreciate it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a minute or two with a lot more. We're going to talk about the deportations coming up next. Look, America has never been as divided as it is right now. So for all my fellow patriots out there looking to make an impact and participate with saving America, boy, do I have a suggestion for you. Go over and check out my good friends at Turning Point Action. You have to see their coalitions. If you're somebody who is passionate about saving this country but don't necessarily know where to begin, this is your go-to spot, and I guarantee you will find a coalition that aligns with who you are and your interests. Look, we all know Turning Point Action does great work, and they're one of the main reasons that the America First movement is as strong as it is. So again, if you're looking for a way to participate, be sure to check out Turning Point Action coalitions and join one today. All right, so let's get into some deportation updates, shall we? ICE has been doing its thing, led by the great border czar, Tom Homan. If you haven't heard a lot about Tom Homan, if you just see what you see on Fox or on X, watch the Tom Homan podcast with Charlie Kirk. I was actually there in the audience. I was lucky enough to be in the audience to hear that live. But it is a great representation of the man, what his plan is, who he is. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. But here's our update. So we have 1,016 arrests, 814 detained, and this was just today. We have over 5,000 arrests in total over the last week, but just today alone, we have 1,016. And I think this was at like noon to make it even more crazy. So who knows what they ended the day at. But that's pretty cool stuff. The way that I'm looking at this deportation is Donald Trump, in his mind, is saying, I ran on the border issue. Many other issues, right? There's a bunch. We could go over the list, but just for the sake of this conversation, the border was pretty much number one. He said that today. The people voted for me in stunning fashion. Therefore, the green light that they're giving me has never been greener to clean up the issue that we have in this country in regards to the illegals. Now, we talk about this every night. Every night we talk about why are Democrats in favor of allowing people to come over the border? Why are they shipping them to towns like Springfield, Ohio? Why? There has to be a reason. Of course there is. Because if they're going to ship them into, of course, sanctuary cities get them, but battleground areas as well, they're trying to flip the tide. Because when that next census comes around, they're going to count all the individuals in an area. There'll be more of a need for representatives in the House. And how do you think those representatives will be? They're going to be Democrats, of course. That's the game when it comes to this illegal immigration. That's the answer why. We talk about that every night. But I'm not going to beat a dead horse because we do talk about that like literally every show. So let's take a look. So Kristi Noem out in the streets herself, she says she's getting these scumbags off the street. Check this out.
Here in New York City this morning, we are getting the dirtbags off these streets. Here in New York City this morning, we are getting the dirtbags off these streets.
So damn right. Get these dirtbags off the streets. Not every person that came over illegally is like inherently bad, evil, but they are criminals. They did commit a crime. Coming over illegally is a crime. It's a crime. The previous administration, maybe they didn't view it as a crime, but don't get it twisted. It's still a crime. They just chose not to prosecute for it. We're going after people. This administration is playing zero games. Kristi Noem, Director of Homeland Security, getting after it. What an upgrade from Mayorkas. What an upgrade from Mayorkas. Really crazy stuff. Here's this. Check this out. So we got officials say the United States has arrested more than 5,000 illegal immigrants through ICE since Donald Trump has took office on January 20th. Again, this was the mandate. Did you think he was joking? He ran on cleaning up this country. The people said, yes, we want it clean. At the end of the day, you see the agenda. You see Selena Gomez going viral for crying. These are my people. These are my people. If you didn't see my segment on Monday night, check it out. I did a whole segment on Selena Gomez. And after we played her video, I showed about 5 or 6 of the convicted criminals, serious crimes. These people committed of assault, rape, child abduction, and so on. These people have been arrested, deported. And Selena Gomez is crying over that. She's either a shill for the Democrat Party, meaning like she has zero idea, and she's just being paid to post things, or nothing. Like, that's literally the only option. I don't see other options. I mean, what are some other, like draw it up. Like, what else could have possibly happened? Is Selena Gomez just unaware? Did Selena Gomez get told a lie? Like, what? You know, grandma knitting outside of the bodega on the side of the street. Like, she didn't get arrested just for no reason. We are going after the violent criminals. Now, grandma, she might get arrested down the road. I'm not saying grandma is safe. Like, so grandma, if she didn't come here the right way, sorry. We got people in line. We've got a process. And not I or anybody else has to explain or justify it. It's the law. If you don't like that, there are other places for you to go. And I suggest that you go there. Because it ain't going to get any better for you in your whack opinions. What I'm talking about, what I'm speaking on is facts. What I'm speaking on isn't up for debate, isn't up for justification from the other side. They can over-contextualize if they'd like, but somebody like me and somebody like you is going to take that shit and bat it down and hit them with a real slice of realization pie. Wait till you see this. Wait until you see this. Give me 1 second here. So, before we get into this next segment, if you're just tuning in now, thank you for tuning in live with Chris's World here on X every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Really appreciate everybody for liking, reposting, and sharing out the show with anybody who enjoys America First content, current events, and all that good stuff. So let's talk a little bit about the sickness that continues to plague our society as of today on the 29th. But I don't see this, I don't know what to call it, like a fad or phenomenon in regards to the transgender thing. Like, what do we really categorize it as? I'm not sure. I don't think it really matters. But I want to show you guys this post. So here is a drag queen singing to...
I wear roller skates, she's cheer captain, I'm on the bleachers. You're becoming fine, what you're looking for has been here the whole time. If you can see that I go on, I want to stand you. You're fine, I know you're better than that. Hey, what you doing with that girl like that? She wears high heels, I wear roller.
You can't blame the kids. They don't know. You can't blame the drag queen. They don't know. They're mentally sick. They're ill. So who can you start to blame? Number one, the parents. Number two, the owner of the establishment. But the parents. Can you imagine being a parent sitting there allowing your child to watch that? It's so wrong that I have a hard time like processing it, really. Because it just doesn't make any sense to me. Hopefully we see much less of this trans drag queen. Like, it needs to stop. I do think we're going to see much less of it. Newsflash, everybody. And this is funny. Like, this is a funny little meme here, but it's so true. Between 4004 BC and 2020 AD, we only had two genders. Between 2021 and 2024, we had 73. But now back in 2025, back to two. Thank you, Donald J. Trump. It's just ridiculous that we're even having this conversation, really. So Donald Trump signs an executive order Today, it was my great honor to sign an executive order banning the chemical castration and medical mutilation of innocent children in the United States of America. Our nation will no longer fund, sponsor, promote, assist, or support so-called gender-affirming care, which has already ruined far too many precious lives. My order directs agencies to use every available means to cut off federal financial participation in institutions which seek to provide these barbaric medical procedures that should never been allowed to take place. These should have never, ever been allowed to take place. And I'll go back to what I said at the beginning. If you've got children who are not allowed to get tattoos, they are not allowed to consume alcohol or tobacco, why the hell are you letting them make life-altering decisions like taking some sort of hormone replacement therapy, some sort of puberty blocker, cutting off, other body parts? Like, what are we? This is, it's barbaric that we're even having the discussion. It's barbaric that we even have to have the discussion of men competing against women in sports. Like, okay, what did we just forget about Title IX? Like, did we literally Title IX? Hello, we have rules for this. So this executive order by Donald Trump, big deal, really, really. And this is going to protect kids. There are 50 million people in the United States, 7.5 billion people on the planet. There are going to be crazies. There are going to be nutcases. That's a lot of people. This general statistics tell you're going to have some nutcases out of that many people. But just go back to this. 50 years ago in the 70s, we had less of a population in the United States, but more psychiatric institutions. So are you telling me that over the past 50 years, our population has grown exponentially, but the number of crazy people in the population has decreased, therefore there's less of a need for psychiatric institutions? That's what's happening in real time. That's what it would tell you, but that's not accurate. You see what's happening with the transgender phenomenon and how it's directly linked to mental health issues. You see what's happening with school shootings. You see what's happening in these institutions, colleges, schools. We need to get back to a society that is based on results and merit. But this here, outside of the whole merit issue, this executive order is going to save lives. It's going to save lives. The amount of children who make these commitments too early and then realize that they've made a huge mistake and take their lives later. This happens a lot. Donald Trump is saving lives, putting the innocent children first, not allowing crazy doctors, teachers, and parents make decisions for them. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Give us 1 minute here. We're going to reset. We're going to talk about Mayor Johnson in Chicago. Their office has violated many laws, accepting gifts, money, alcohol, you name it. Wait until you hear this. This is big stuff. But this guy, Mayor Johnson, wants to point the finger at Republicans and Trump and anybody he can. Again, Democrats, serious issue. There's a chronic epidemic that is lying deep within every Democrat right now. The lack of looking in the mirror. They need to reflect, and they're not reflected. That's why they lost. That's why they'll continue to lose. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking. says, The Rock says,
What's up, everyone? First and foremost, thank you so much for tuning in to another live episode of Live with Chris's World. And I want to let you all know about a new exciting opportunity that we have for the audience. So if you're a patriot who's looking to get on camera and be on a podcast, well, here at Live with Chris's World, we want to give you that opportunity. So look, at the end of the day, there's nothing more important than having the conversations and talking about the issues. So I am personally extending an invitation to any patriot listening to this right now that wants to come share their thoughts, their takes, their opinion on a political current event on Live with Chris's World. All you got to do is follow me, shoot me a DM, a direct message, and I'll be sure to get back to you.
You're tuned in to Chris's World, a daily podcast covering the controversial topics of today through a conservative, patriotic lens. Tune in every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for Chris's World, only on X.
All right. So Mayor Johnson in Chicago. So Chicago's Inspector General just released a report stating that Mayor Johnson's office accepted gifts, including jewelry, handbags, and alcohol on behalf of the city without publicly reporting them. The mayor's office also refused to make the mayor's quote-unquote gift room available for inspection. What are you hiding, Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor, what are you hiding? That type of behavior isn't transparent to me. You get caught not disclosing of gifts given to you. And then when we say, okay, you didn't disclose, do you mind if we check your gift room? And you say, oh, no. Yes, I would mind. What do you think? We're fucking stupid? You think we're dumb? Of course we're not dumb. Mayor Johnson, sayonara. He's going to be voted the hell out of office next time. I hope so. And it's like, poor Chicago, right? For the people who actually live in Chicago and want the city to thrive, God, do I feel bad for you. You've just got to go. You've got to leave. Because, man, that you get hit with Lori Lightfoot and then you get hit with Mayor Johnson. I don't know what's worse. Think about it like this. Mayor Johnson, Brandon Johnson, did an interview not too long ago. And he says, when the journalist, the reporter says to Brandon Johnson, he say, hey, people are really upset with the results and the product that you have provided. His response was, well, I'm flattered that the people have such high expectations of us. That was his legitimate response. Hello, McFly. No, you suck at the job. That's why people aren't satisfied. Not that their expectation of you is so high and so unreasonably vast that it would have been impossible for you to accomplish the expectation. It's not what happened, but that's how he's trying to spin it. Mayor Johnson is a failure. He's a loser. A guy who took a bad situation and made it much, much worse. Sure, that could be my opinion, but if you feel otherwise, then I would encourage you to walk the streets of Chicago at night alone. My point is proven then. Okay. Mayor Johnson. Who is a her? Big loser. Got to get these people out of office. Sanctuary cities. I mean, it's just, it really is ridiculous, right? What we're talking about. All right, we're gonna come down the list here a little bit. I want to make a point here. So Donald Trump really put everybody on notice with the whole Colombia situation. You have, what was his name? Gustavo, the president of Colombia, says, no, we're not taking back our people. Trump says, fine, we're going to impose tariffs on you like you've never seen before. The tariffs, they don't even need to get imposed, right? Just the threat is enough, because why do tariffs always work? There's nothing more powerful than the American consumer. That is why tariffs will always work for us, because people need us a hell of a lot more than we need people. So Trump says this, hilarious, makes news all over the place.
I appreciated they took back that tough talk, but we may have tough talk from others, but it's not going to mean anything. They're going to all take them back, and they're going to like it too. They're going to like it. They're going to take it back, and they're going to like it. Today, I appreciated they took back that tough talk.
That is just so awesome. They're going to take them back, and they're going to like it. But as awesome as it is, why does it have to be so controversial? Like, that's what I don't really understand, is why is that so controversial? It wasn't too long ago that everybody's favorite Democrat was saying the same thing. What do I mean? We're talking about, that's right, we're talking about Hillary.
So I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If they've been working.
What changed? What changed? And I'll double down on it again. If you don't like Hillary, if that's not enough, here's Barack Obama.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
See, so, and this is a good segment right here. Like, knock down the timestamp. What are we, 58 minutes on that? But this is a really good segment here because it just shows the hypocrisy from the left. The only reason that they get mad is because it's something that Donald Trump is doing. If Donald Trump were to say, allow a open border, the left would be like, what the hell? No, close the border. It's sad. It's very sad. But it's not controversial. It's sad that the left has sunk to the depths of hell. But Donald Trump's doing the right thing. And they all know it because they were singing the same tune just a decade ago. Just a decade ago. The Laken Riley Act was passed. Trump had her family in attendance, the family of Jocelyn and Gary. Rachel Morin, the mother that was killed hiking, Jocelyn Nangari, the 12-year-old, 13-year-old little girl who was raped and killed by two illegals. Terrible. Just heartbreaking stuff. All these families, these angel families, were in attendance for the signing of the Laken Riley Act, which essentially will deport any illegal in the country who commits a crime. We should be deporting any illegal in the country, period. But this act will allow the deportation of any illegal who commits a crime. I believe it will also give states the ability to sue the federal government in the event that another administration comes in and tries to pull the same fast one that the Biden administration tried to pull. So after Trump signed the executive order, he was giving out a couple of pens to the families. And a reporter asked about federal funding, and Trump shut it down pretty quick. Check this out.
Mr. President, government funding. Can you take a quick question on government funding? Pause.
I don't think this is appropriate time. Really. I respect that, but I don't think it's appropriate. I could just tell you government is doing very well, and we're cutting way back, but this is not the appropriate time. Thank you.
What I get out of that is I see a president who is aware of the moment, aware of the feelings of those around him, the families that were affected, that are a vulnerable, very emotional time. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to them. The worst thing that could ever happen to anybody, to lose a child, to lose a loved one in such a vicious, inhumane, insensible way, a way that could have been prevented. All these aliens, all these illegals coming over when they should not have been here. Donald Trump recognizes that. Says to the reporter, like, come on, man, not appropriate. And it's not. These reporters, and they're coming correct. These reporters, when Donald Trump snaps at, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Trump is in control. He knows it. But what's so great about that statement is the man is in control, and look at the way he's handling situations. His ability to see through the lens of the affected families. So you're going to ask about federal funding right now when we just signed the Laken Riley Act, and I've got Laken Riley's mother sitting next to me? Donald Trump, class act. Class act. And how about this, the fact that he's taking questions, right? I mean, he's literally signing executive orders and taking questions simultaneously. You've never seen anything like that before. Joe Biden literally went out there with a piece of paper and said, I'm not allowed to call on you. I'm not allowed to call on you. He took 2 questions and then went to sleep. We have a real president right now, and it's a glorious thing to see. It's a beautiful thing. Common sense is back in the White House. The upgrade that we got with Caroline Leavitt as our press secretary compared to Karine Jean-Pierre. Where do you think Karine Jean-Pierre is going to end up anyway? MSNBC, probably. I don't even think CNN would take Karine. But MSNBC certainly would. They'll stick her right there next to Psaki. Psaki's got no soul. But man, all right, everybody. So thank you for being here tonight. Live with Chris's World airs right here on X every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also on Rumble, want to shout out to SS Designs over there in the Rumble chat, Free Castle over there in the Rumble chat. We are on YouTube as well, but nobody watches this show on YouTube. We just put the clips on there. But thank you guys for being here. Thank you to everybody who watches on X. Almost 2,000 people tuned in here to the show tonight. So really, really appreciate that. Be optimistic about the time that we are in. Be somebody who looks for opportunity and takes advantage of it. Not in a malicious way. Like, just be somebody who, you know, sets targets and goals for yourself and accomplish them. And it feels really good doing it. You know, seeing that progression. And you could be 15, 30, 25, 40, 60, 70, or 80. You know, it doesn't matter what age you are. But all right, everybody, thank you for being here. Live with Chris's World every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Live on X, Rumble, and YouTube at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be blessed. Have a great night. Have a great day tomorrow. I'll catch up with you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, take care, everyone.